Nessa girl, did you get into Iyanla Fix My Life last night? Stir it up, bitch. Okay, it's Sunday, y'all. It's 9:39 at night. I'm stripped down, relaxed in my house, and finally just got the energy and in the mind frame to talk about Iyanla. I went down to the bar with Honda Cosby last night. Stayed out to 5:30 in the morning, then wake up to 3 o'clock this afternoon and had some errands to run before the stores closed at 6. Then I had to go by my auntie house and spend some time with her. Run the raggedy ass Walmart, then Target. Now I'm home about to cook. It's 9:30. But I did not want to start the week out backed up on video, so I said I didn't call y'all earlier today, but I'll talk to you now. And so before we get started, I want to say I really applaud Iyanla, because one thing that she is doing with this show is really just exposing and laying on the line some of the ugly traits of family, and in particular the black family, in terms of secrets and how we cover things up or just don't talk about them in hopes that they go away and things get made worse. Let me put this drink down. So for y'all that got into last night's episode of Iyanla Fix My Life, the episode starts out basically, it's a mother, 3 daughters, and they're in breakdown. The youngest daughter was being molested by her older brother. The boy was a teenager, and it started when she was 8 years old, right? The youngest daughter told the middle daughter, because the middle daughter was very close to the brother, in hopes that she could stop him, and it didn't stop, right? Okay, so that's the basic premise of what was going on. On the surface, that's what it looks like, right? So Iyanla brings the mother in, and she's like, you know, your son is molesting your youngest daughter. Where did he get that from? Then the mother reveals, well, he was molested. And it's like, damn. And then Iyanla keeps talking with the woman, and come to find out the mother was molested. So here it is. We've got a pathology of molestation, right? And, you know, a lot of people got on Twitter last night and was like, don't you think Iyanla's making excuses for him? Iyanla was not making excuses for that boy at all. She was simply explaining the behavior. A part of the thing that I left out was, 6 months after the mother found out that the brother was molesting the little sister, he died. He had sickle cell. So Iyanla pointed out that your son was molested, number one, that he woke up every day just not knowing if he was going to live to see the next day, constantly in pain, in and out of the hospital, that emotionally he was bankrupt and he just had nothing to lose. Again, not excusing it, explaining it, because most people ask, how could you do something like this? How could you be so mean, so demonic, so monster-like? And that's because spiritually, like just in a universal sense, it had happened to him. So he was dealing with whatever those issues were. And like I said, just living every day knowing that, you know, you might die tomorrow. That is a fucked up existence for anybody. And it will cause you to do fucked up things. Nevertheless, you know, one layer of the onion got peeled back when we find out the brother got molested and the mother got molested. So then Iyanla brings in the older 2 sisters, the oldest, which is 29, and the middle sister, which is like 25. And she was close with the brother. They were 16 months apart. And so the oldest sister she got the Cliff Notes version of what happened. All she knew is the brother violated the youngest sister, but she didn't ask any probing questions. And Iyanla was like, well, what does molested mean? What did your sister say to you? Because molestation could mean grabbing the breast, touching the private. It could mean intercourse. It's a very broad term. And I think for the older sister, she was more comfortable just not knowing the details. So the middle sister is asked, what did your youngest sister, her name was Gabby, what did Gabby say to you about the incident? And she said, Gabby said he has been having sex with me. The older sister broke down in tears. And so Iyanla was like, whoa, what is this breakdown about? And the older sister was like, I guess it gave a visual and it gave life to exactly what was going on. Again, the veil of molestation, it could simply be, and it don't make it better, but it could simply be, oh, he touched her, fondled her, I'ma turn a blind eye, and that's what she did. But at that moment, she had to process your brother was on top of your sister having sex with her. And it just was a lot. And it was like, wow. And then, the middle sister goes to explain why her relationship with her mother is so strained. And largely it was because the mother perceived her to be promiscuous. She was calling her hoes and sluts and all this kind of stuff, which is wrong. And I grew up in a household where my mama used to talk to us and call us all kind of bitches and stuff. And the funny thing about it is I didn't realize that behavior was not normal until like late in college. I would go home with friends and see that their family and their parents didn't talk to them like that. And that was normal. And it's sad to say that I went 20-something years of my life thinking that it's okay to call your children's bitches and yell at them and call them motherfuckers and all that kind of stuff, because that was done to me and I didn't know the difference any better. Nevertheless, the sister was like, me and my mom have had a breakdown since I've been about 13 years old because, she's talked to me any kind of way. She don't love me the way she loved them. Da, 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 da. The older sister said, well, yeah, because we live in a small town, small community, and people been hearing things about you. And y'all know how that shit go. Oh, she a slut, she a thought, she fucking everybody on the football team, she fucking this boy, fucking that boy, or whatever the case may be. And I'm like, she's awfully defensive about this thing. And the older sister says, but it wasn't my sister, it was the girl she was hanging with, and she was a thought by association. At this point, I'm feeling like maybe, I'm feeling like, I don't know, like listen, y'all, we know how that shit goes down in high school. So I was kind of like, you saying you wasn't a thought, but you rolling with them, you probably was, right? So then, we start getting into more and more secrets, and the sister reveals that she was raped. She lost her virginity. I think she said at 13, she was at a friend's house laying in the bed with a friend, and one of the friend's older relatives walked in the room, pulled her by her legs, and just fucked her. And said the friend laid there in the bed and pretended like she was asleep, but she wasn't. Now, I don't know what kind of monster that is to do that to somebody, and the gag is for that person to fuck that girl with the other girl laying in the bed. He was probably fucking her too, quiet as it's kept. That's what it feels like, and that's a very sad way. So here it is now. We've got this pathology of molestation and rape going on with this family, and nobody knows anything. So the youngest daughter finally comes in and sits down with Iyanla. What I loved about the youngest daughter, y'all, is that she was very in tune with her feelings, and she was able to be uncompromisingly introspective. She was like, I don't deal with people, because of this. I attract knuckleheads because this happened to me. I have trust issues with people. Like, she was very, let me stir it up. She was very clear as to where her issue came from. And I found that to be amazing for a 21-year-old girl. Now, not unfortunately, but she's 21 and she has 2 kids, and one could argue that her molestation and sexual trauma has got her going down this, wrong path when it comes to men and having babies and whatnot. But it was good to see she was introspective. So then Iyanla brings everybody in the room, right? Because the middle sister said that Gabby told her when she was 11. Gabby said she told her when she was 8. The older sister didn't really know what was going on. The mama found out a year later because the middle sister blurted it out trying to hurt the brother. It's just a full-on mess. Iyanla brings everybody out and she tells them, listen, All of y'all telling me different stories about what happens. Then Iyanla scares the shit out of these people, and it's funny as hell. She had all these people run in with these Inspector Gadget uniforms on and just run and start on the people. This shit was funny. The mama was so scared. Then Iyanla gave them each a sheet of paper and asked them to basically write what happened. And the moral of the exercise was, she asked them each one, how many men, how many women, how many men, how many women. Each one, she said 2 men, 2 women. One said 1 man, 3 women. One said 2 women, 2 men. And the point of the exercise was, a family of people, 4 people can sit through the same experience and have a different interpretation. And it doesn't make that person's interpretation right or wrong, just different. And that was very powerful. It was a very healing thing for me, because we tend to deal with situations in our family and we expect everybody to see it the way we've seen it or to feel it the way we felt it. And honestly, coming from your vantage point and your sack of baggage and your sack of experiences, positive and negative, it really does define and determine the way you see things and the way you experience things. So just because you see it one way doesn't mean the other person has to. And because they didn't doesn't make them wrong. So that was a very powerful exercise, and you could see the light go off in all of their heads about the situation. It was very touching when Iyanla got to why the youngest sister told the middle sister and didn't tell the mama. And the middle sister reveals that she was the brother's best friend. They were 16 months apart. And Iyanla was like, you were his best friend. She told you because she thought that you could stop it. She told you because she thought that maybe you would speak up and protect her. And that's not to put any blame or guilt on the middle sister, because she was just a child as well and didn't have the tools and wasn't equipped to be dealing with something so major like that. So, now we're peeling back these other layers and going back to experiences. The middle sister, she just seemed like she wasn't with the shit, y'all. And I found it odd and telling that she was like, Gabby's been raped, the brother's dead, the middle sister, who has no connection with the mama, goes off to college. And now she's angry with the mama and Gabby because she's like, the mama didn't do shit for her while she was in college. And it's all because Gabby had a baby, right? And she's out of the home. I found it so fitting that Gabby and the mama started crying and going back to 2 people going through the same experience with different interpretations. She at college thinking the mama don't care for her because that's the story in her head. Unbeknownst to her, the mama and the daughter are at home splitting combo meals. So and then the mom's pay had got cut from $19 an hour down to $10 an hour. So here it is, you up here got an attitude thinking your mama don't care for you, thinking she loved Gabby more. And here it is, they home struggling, and Gabby breaks down and crying, and she's like, you around here mad at me thinking that because I had a baby it took food out your mouth, but we didn't even have no food. And the mama started crying real hard because it hurt her for her children to think that she would never do anything for them. She just didn't have it to give. And Iyanla said something that was very poignant to that mother in that moment that I never thought about as an adult, and you can carry this through your family relationships and your friendships. She was saying, mom, as a mom, when your kids open up to you, you can't have this meltdown that you just had, because it will prevent them from talking to you in the future for fear of upsetting you. And I'm going to move that to my mom and my growing up situation. My mother used to call us liars all the time. And true, we did lie about stuff. But we lied because my mother would fly off the rails, curse us out, demean us, or beat the shit out of us unwarrantedly because she's upset with life in the world. So you damn right, if I'm finna get the shit beat out of me, I'm gonna take my chances lying, you know what I'm saying, to try to get out of it, because shit, either I ain't got nothing to lose, you know what I'm saying, or you're gonna yell at me and make me feel low and be mad at me, so I'm gonna take my chance lying. And parents, I'm not trying to, yes, we don't want our kids to lie, but the deeper issue is, why doesn't your child feel comfortable telling you the truth? That's the bigger issue. Why you kind of mad at your child for lying. You need to be mad at yourself because you haven't fostered an environment where your child can tell you stuff, even if they've done something wrong. Now, I know small kids are going to do things and they need corrective mechanisms, so on and so forth. But when your child gets to an age, teenage years, where they're able to vocalize their feelings and emotions and whatnot, you got to kind of check yourself when your child don't feel comfortable talking to you about things and feeling the need to lie to you about what's going on in their life and chains of events that are happening. Something else that Iyanla pointed out that I wanted to get on. She was like, they went to commercial break and they come back and all the daughters were sitting on the sofa. The youngest daughter was sitting there with her hands folded. The middle daughter had her mouth poked out. The oldest daughter was looking sad. And when Iyanla said, you know what, this right here, this behavior, it's violent and it causes a breakdown in communication, because when you are in company of people and you sitting up here so closed off, it makes people either get an attitude, what's wrong with you, and have to ask questions, or it makes people ignore your ass. You know what I'm saying? And that is true. She was like, you can't nobody even have no communication when you sitting up there with your face all scrunched up. And that is true. I think we don't give enough credit to body language. And I think body language many times carries more weight than actual language. And that was a growing moment for me. It's like, Q, when people are talking to you, or you know, you're in a deep conversation, be conscious of your body language and what it's saying. As the show started to get deeper, you know, Iyanla talked to the mama about why she was calling the daughter bitches and hoes, and were you projecting what you felt about yourself onto her? And it was very telling and healing for the mother and daughter. The mother revealed that she was molested and it caused her to be promiscuous, okay? And she recognized some of the behaviors of her childhood in her daughter. And it was self-hate. And she was calling her daughter everything she felt about herself. That was another aha moment in when we deal with people and the things we choose to say about people. It is true. A lot of it is a reflection of how you feel about yourself. You know, I really related with the middle daughter, because she said everybody was calling her promiscuous, and that was not the case. She said, I was not being promiscuous. And the mama was like, you was out there. And the mama got stern about it. The mama, she was like, you was out there being promiscuous. Yes, you was. And you know you was. I mean, and you know, and I hate it because I've been in a situation several times when people want to label you something and don't even know what the fuck they talking about. It has happened to me in my family upbringing. It has happened to me in this business. People just think they fucking know and they don't. And then the daughter drops a bombshell that she could not hold anymore. She was like, I'm so fucking upset because y'all was out here calling me promiscuous and I wasn't even sleeping with any of them boys. I was sleeping with a girl. Bitch, she took the breath out of everybody on that damn sofa. And it was like, so see, now you see why I'm so mad? Y'all didn't know what the fuck you was talking about. Calling me sluts and bitches. I wasn't even doing anything. Now here's part 2 of the gag, and this is a separate video. And I said this earlier in the video when I talked about me and that experience, my first sexual gay experience with that older man. That girl went all her life preferring to be thought of as promiscuous by her family than to be able to reveal that she was bisexual. Again, failed parenting. You've got to ask why. Why is it? What has been said about gay people? What has been said in your household about gay people that made your daughter feel that she could not tell you that that was how she really was? You know what I'm saying? And then she said it, you know, my mama would say stuff about gay people, and it was the same thing with me. My mother never came out and said, gay people are horrible people. Y'all never better be gay. She never said that. But it was her attitude towards gay people. Things that she would say, look at them sissies. Just look at them. You know, in an undesirable tone. So shit, I grew up knowing that, yeah, I don't want to be a sissy because she obviously don't like sissies. It really is that subtle. And the girl said it. She said, you know, because my mother has said things. You know, the mother tried to clear it up. You know, I just be joking. Yeah, but there's truth in them jokes. And the daughter sensed it. And so, yeah, she went around preferring y'all, calling her sluts and hoes, being promiscuous, when that was not even the case. So I'm hoping now that she was able to give her truth, that it would heal their situation. And Iyanla even checked the mother. She was like, what was going on in your household that your daughter couldn't tell you this? You know what I'm saying? And it was freeing for the daughter. Iyanla put some of the onus on her too and was like, well, you know, you can't 100% get mad with them and they didn't have all the information. You know what I'm saying? Oftentimes, y'all, when there's contention in relationships, it ain't just one person's fault. It's two ways. And this episode of Iyanla taught me that it is all about communication. And 9 times out of 10, 99% of conflict, in my opinion, is based on miscommunication and misinterpretation of what's really going on. It was another healing moment when people start to get into, she was getting onto the mother about, you know, is there anything that you want to say? And the mother broke down and started crying again because she felt guilty for the brother molesting the younger daughter. And, you know, the mother suggests or feels like this would not have happened had she been at home more and not having to work. And the mother reveals that she was in a horrible relationship and she would stay at work to prevent from coming home and being, you know, abused or having to deal with the man. And as a result, because her children were left unattended for so long, this type of thing happened, you know. And I think any parent would feel that, you know, listen, you know, who's to say that it wouldn't have still happened had she been home at night, but it definitely would have probably helped curtail some of it. That was very telling. And then they put the picture up of the brother and they tell everybody to talk to him. And, you know, the middle sister goes first and she's like, you know, I miss you, but I just don't understand how you could do this. And, you know, just like why you could do this. And Iyanla gave them some tools and gave them something that was very powerful for me when she said, it is okay to be mad at him and to be hurt by him and still love him. You know, and sometimes, y'all, we can't separate the two. But she was like, it's okay. You can tell him, I think you a piece of shit. You're bad. How the fuck could you do this? And I still love you. So the mother, you know, goes into the whole, how could you, how could you, how could you? But the youngest daughter goes, you know, why would you do this to me? How could you do this to me? You forever altered me. You took my innocence. Yada, yada, yada. And she says, but I forgive you. And I'm not exaggerating for camera. This is the first time in life, y'all. It is the first time in life I had my breath taken away. Like, and I promise you I'm not being dramatic. That's why I got to talk to you about it. I was laying balled up on the sofa, my feet in the sofa, and I convulsed and like something just, whoo. And then I just started crying because it was that powerful for that girl to be that far on her journey and for everything that happened to her, for her to be able to say, you know, and I forgive you. You know, they really do say it's power in forgiveness, because that shit, I felt that through the TV and it pulled it out of me. This was just a really good episode, y'all. Moral of the story: secrets kill. Secrets kill. And y'all, we got to do better in our families with communication. And, you know, when we see behaviors that are undesirable in our kids, we've got to be inquisitive enough to ask what was going on. When you see a shift in your child's behavior, and it's funny because the mother noticed a change in her daughter at the exact point the daughter said she got raped. The mother, and then now it all makes sense. Here it is, all these years they had been having this adversarial relationship, And unbeknownst to the mother, something happened to that girl, and that's what made her shift. So whenever you see shifts in people, something happened. And ask and lead with love. And, you know, I just particularly related to this Iyanla episode because my family, my mom's side, it is the same type of communication breakdowns, misinterpretations of shit that done happened 20 years ago that people still mad about 20 years later, and it ain't even what this person thought about. You sitting here being mad for 30 years about something, and it ain't even what you thought it was. It was really this. Y'all check out the episode and heal your family. And I'm finna get in here and cook. I'll call y'all later. Bye.